everyone. Welcome back to GSP Live, episode 10. Today we're very lucky to have Mr. Zul Rahman, the representative of University of Chester, today to share with us a lot of information, very useful one, a lot of great news from the UK, and we cannot wait to hear it. Over to you, Zul.
All right, thank you, Annie. Thank you for the very nice and warm introduction. I'm delighted to be joining in GSP today. I can't believe it's already been 10 episodes. That's really great. I mean, everybody who's watching live, whether it be live or if you're watching the rerun, thanks for joining in. Again, like Annie said, my name is Zul. Very easy to remember, ZUL, and I am the country manager of Vietnam for the University of Chester. But not only actually for Vietnam, I take care of all of Southeast Asia countries. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you're watching it today, if you're tuning in, welcome. And I hope what we go through today, it helps you make your decision. It helps you get to know a bit more about Chester. I'm really delighted to be joining in. Okay, all right. So Annie, is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Please do.
Okay. All right. You're doing it for the same 18 months, and still, every single time you want to share your screen, you hope you don't mess it up. Okay. All right. So I guess I am now sharing my screen. Again, a bit of information about myself there for anybody who's watching. If you want to get in touch with me directly. I just wanted to highlight on this page for those of you who's watched today, to be honest now, you can see on the right hand side, that's that huge award, and I intentionally put it there because I really want to highlight this. I think the University of Chester, we're really proud of our recent achievement last year. We came in second place in the international category for international students. So that just shows the support, that just shows guidance and the experience that we give to these students, especially international students who want to come and study in the UK. And getting second place, to be honest with you, I think is a terrific achievement. And when you think about it, it's around, I think, 130 universities or so. So yeah, very, very, really, really respectable achievement over there. Okay, so we'll talk a bit about the University of Chester. The pictures the city looks beautiful, looks wonderful. And bear in mind, all these pictures were pre-COVID, pre-pandemic time, so it looks really lively, really, really busty. But I think the majority of you who's watched it, you may be wondering, where is Chester? I mean, for those of you who've not been to the UK before, or who have been, maybe you've not heard of where Chester is. So that's where we are. As you can see on the screen right now, we are in the northwest. So very close by to Liverpool. I mean, the majority of you may have heard of Liverpool, and also very close by to Manchester. We've got a sister site, which is in Warrington. So in between Chester and Manchester. And to be honest with you, it's we're actually not too far away from the capital. It's only 2 hours away by direct train. So it's very convenient as well if you want to commute to London. But the biggest airport, of course, would be Manchester, which is the closest. So the majority of the students do come and land in Manchester. Okay, so that's just a bit of, a very brief geography lesson for all of you who's watching. As also you can see before I continue, I just wanted to point out that we were voted and we've been recognized as the second most friendly city in the country, according to the same newspaper. So I think it really bodes well. You know what you're coming to. You know the city is going to be a friendly city, very open, lively city, and that's really good for us here at Chester. Okay, and the number of awards that the city of Chester has won in a couple of years before. Before I talk about the university itself, I just want to talk a bit about the city because I think the city is a very, very nice place to live. Fun fact: I was also a former student there at the University of Chester. So yeah, I lived there around for 13 months or so, and I loved it, every single second of it. Every single moment I was there, I fell in love with the city, the university, the people, the culture, the vibe. As you can see, all the awards that we've won, the city has won in the past years. But the most important, I think, that I wanted to point it out, among those, as you can see, we're the safest city-based university in the region. Okay, so for those of you who are probably thinking about coming, or maybe visiting Chester, you know that you'll be in a very safe environment, a city which has very low crime rates, a city which is safe and comfortable for you as a student, maybe if you and your family as well, so you know that you're coming to a very, very safe city. Okay, so apart from the campuses that we have in the city, another brief geography lesson now for everybody who's watching. We've got a couple, like I said, a couple of other campuses in other cities. So from the top, as you can see, we've got a sister site in Warrington. Okay, Warrington is quite a big site as well, but it's not too far away. We've got a postgrad study, postgrad research campus in Thornton, which is in between Chester and Warrington. And then we've got Chester itself, the city of Chester. We've got 4 campuses in the lovely city of Chester. And last but not least, we also have a Shrewsbury campus, which is, I think, around 1 hour away by train. And it's a sort of smaller size city campus, which is near the big city itself. Okay. All right, so let's just zoom in a bit into the city of Chester and look at the campuses. Okay, so for those of you who are watching, you may be thinking, how big is actually Chester? So if you look from this sort of map and the guide that I just showed on the screen right now, you can see that Chester is actually not too big. So we're not a metropolitan city like, for example, London, if you've been here, or maybe you've heard of Birmingham, or even Manchester itself. Or even, to be honest with you, I don't think we're quite as big as Ho Chi Minh or even Hanoi in that sense. Quite big cities itself, and we're sort of a medium, smaller city, smaller town, I would say it, and everything's in walking distance, as you can see on the map there. Everything's in walking distance. So Exton Park, you got your Exton Park in the north, which is our main campus. You've got down to the south, you got your Wheeler, and also you got Queens Park campus. Wheeler is the education and the health campus, whereas Queens Park is the flagship business campus. So, business, the majority of students would be studying there, just across the river. And then on the north east side, we do have Kingsway campus, which is only 25 minutes from the city center by walking. And Kingsway is home to the art departments and faculties. Okay, so you can see that everything is sort of in walking distance. So theoretically, you could walk from Exton Park to Queens Park, and under 30 minutes or so. So it's not too far away. And this is coming from experience, and maybe if anybody have been in the UK, you know that walking in the UK is a very different experience than walking, for example, in Southeast Asia, for example, in Ho Chi Minh, or maybe where I'm capital from, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It's different. The walking experience in the UK is very pleasant. The weather is very cool. You don't sweat a lot as much as you are here in Southeast Asia. But yeah, that's what makes it very fun. And you also save a lot of costs because you don't need bus passes, you don't need taxi passes, you don't need to take a subway to class. Everything can be is reachable via walking, or if you have the extra funds, via a bicycle. So healthy living as well, healthy living in that fact. Okay, all right. So a bit about where Chester is, a bit about the city and also the campuses. So let's talk about the university, more about the university now. Some small trivia and facts about the university. So like I said, we've been around since quite some time, 1839. And I don't know, what's the math at the top of my head? Maybe 180 years or so we've been around, so quite some time. And some of the buildings actually, in fact, are still in the main campus. Okay. And apart from being one of the oldest establishments, English higher education establishments in the UK, we've got 15,000 students from 130 different countries. So, we've got a healthy dose of international students as well here in Chester. Okay. The student to staff ratio, if you've heard of students to staff ratio, so what it means is how many students to one staff. Ours is around 15.1, so it's sort of medium sized. So we're not too big, our class is neither, or our class is too small. But I think it's good because a lot of Southeast Asians actually, I'm not being stereotypical, but from experience, we tend to be a bit shy. So bigger classes tend to not work too much, not to work too good. But having smaller classes is good because you can raise your hand, you can ask the lecturer, you can sort of get to know your friends more, get to know the lecturers more. And I think that's really, really great. Okay, 300 courses across 8 faculties, a lot of them for you, for any of you who are watching today. Also, our rankings are quite respectable, quite good. I just want to point out that, as like I said, second best for international students. But also during this pandemic, as you know, a lot of classes are sort of shifted to a blended approach. So we've got also a bit of online learning, but you've also got on-campus learning. But even when you learn online, even when you are online, via the camera, via your laptop or so tablet, you won't feel left out because recently we won and we we had the award winner in excellence in digital innovation, and this is backed up by our efforts to really put the student experience first and foremost, even during the COVID pandemic. Okay. As you can see, you popped out with 20th in the UK, according to What Uni, and according to the Times, you are 69th in the UK. And I'm being really totally honest with everybody who's watching. We are not Oxford, we are not Cambridge, neither are we St Andrews, so we're not in the top three in the UK. But our rankings are quite respectable. We're somewhere in the middle ground. We're not too far at the back, neither are we at the front top 10, but it's very, very respectable. We are somewhere in the middle. And I think when you look at the price and also the ranking, you sort of balance it. I think Chester is one of the most perfect universities for that. Okay. And last but not least, we are silver status as well, according to TF 2017, which is a government mandated rankings. Very similar to our neighbors, Liverpool and also Manchester, which are also silver status. Okay. All right. So not just about the academics, also about the accommodation. I just wanted to point out because a lot of university students, they usually ask about the accommodation. It's a huge thing, and I do understand for an international student to come to a new country. Maybe you don't know anybody and you don't know the place. You want to, be in a sort of comfortable and safe and a known environment, and maybe you want to live on campus. That is totally fine. We have 41 halls of residence, which is quite a lot, and we're top 25 in the country for affordable accommodation. Okay, it starts from £85 per week for in Warrington, and around 95 to 100 per week in Chester itself, and it can go a bit higher. So if you're looking for like a catered option, or if you're looking for private bathroom, private kitchen, and so forth, the prices will of course increase. Okay, but all this is a very safe environment. Campus security 24/7. You can be rest assured that you will be in a very safe environment. And we have a deadline every year, so it's around 13th August. If you apply before that, you are guaranteed for that intake. Okay, so that's maybe something you want to think about as well if you're watching this. Accommodation usually is half of that sort of planning where you're going to live in the UK, apart from where you're going to study. So you have your accommodation sorted out if you live on campus or in and around campus at university accommodation. Okay, all right. So that's a bit about the accommodation. Okay, so now I just want to go back in sense. I just want to ask the main question that we get is, especially for those of you who are watching today, is why Chester? Why the University of Chester from other universities? Because in the UK there's 130 other different universities. They'll be asking, the main question is why Chester? And I think during this whole webinar or whole live session that we have, this is the most important sort of information I think that you will want to absorb. Why the University of Chester? Number one, in the region, we are known for, very well known for one of the most affordable and competitive tuition fees in England. Okay, our next intake, we only have postgrad, which is January and February and May. But rest assured, our fees after scholarships can be as low as 9,700 only for the whole duration of your studies. Okay, so I think, to be honest with you, I think that it's really, really affordable in comparison to all the other universities when you balance the rankings and also the price. Okay, but not just the tuition fees, because to be honest with you, tuition fees is of course the fees that you would have to look at initially, but then when you arrive in the UK, you will also have to look and think about the cost of living. You do have universities who are quite affordable, but the city itself is very expensive, and this is usually for bigger metropolitan cities such as London or Birmingham or sorts, or Manchester. But for us, in Chester, it's also very, very affordable cost of living, as low as £550 per month. And this is from experience itself and from other students who I'm very close with in the region. It can even go a bit lower if you cook yourself, if you're frugal, you don't spend too much. But the baseline is around 500 to 550 per month pounds. Okay. Another thing that we are very well known in the region is because we have our own free English language test. And this has always been a misconception everywhere, that students think you need an IELTS, you need a TOEFL, you need a Pearson school in the UK, and that cannot be farther from the truth. Okay, you don't need any of those if you're running out of time and you want to save cost of money. You can take our own free English language test. It's called the University of Chester English Language Test, and it is a free charge as long as you have a conditional offer letter with us. You can take the test with us, and that test is valid for that specific academic year. Okay, and to be honest with you, it's very similar to IELTS. You have your reading, you've got your writing, you've got your listening, you've got your speaking. So if you're very well versed in English, there's no need to take IELTS or sorts. Just take the free University of Chester English language test with us, and I think it gives you peace of mind because you don't have to think about studying for IELTS. You don't have to think about booking, especially during COVID. Okay, that's something that we're very well known for in the region. Okay,
Yeah.
and
I have a quick question on this because free English test is very good and very
yes,
handy
Annie.
in terms of application. So obviously, because now Vietnam in lockdown, so a lot of students cannot sit for an IELTS test or a PT test, so they will opt for this option like quite quickly. Also, just in case, I want to ask is that if they sit for this test and haven't got the result that they wanted, can they resit for this test, and will Uni Chester allow that?
Fantastic. That's a really good question, Annie. And that's a question that I get a lot actually when I go to events and when I talk to students. To be honest with you, we only offer the English language test only once per year. Okay, so you can only take it once per year. So unfortunately, if you have failed this test, you will maybe be advised to take a pre-sessional English program, which is a English program before the actual course starts, and is paid. Or you will be, if you just fail, you also have the option to retake IELTS. You have the option to take Pearson's and whatnot. Okay, so you may want to take this test when you are actually ready, but don't worry. There are plenty of guidance. There are plenty of guides. There's even samples actually in the website of this English language test, so you can really get ready to take this test. Okay, so it does need a bit of studying. I'm not gonna lie to you there. It does need a bit of studying, but again, is an option if you're out of time, and it is also an option if you are out of the financial resources as well. Okay, right. So thanks for that question, Annie. So moving forward
Thank you.
now,
Yeah.
moving forward, I just want to again highlight why Chester, apart from the normal practical courses, hands-on classes, we've got a very good careers and employability center as well. Why this is important, to be honest with you, I think also GSP, you also know about this, is that the UK now has a 2 years post-study work visa, so meaning students can study and then afterwards come and work in the UK for 2 years. So you can work in any job. It can be freelance, it can be professional work, it can also be non-professional work if you want it. It doesn't really matter. And working the 2 years is really good because you may want to find the experience. May want to be fine. You may want to find the exposure to how the British people work, and especially it's good on your CV. So us having a good career center, it can really help you boost your CV, help you push for interviews, help you find that correct job that you want to look at and you want to acquire. Okay. And apart from that, again, why Chester is of course the rankings. Good ratings, you can see there 4.2 out of 5, plenty of student reviews. 20th in the UK Best University, 24th in the UK for quality of teaching. This is quite high, to be honest with you. I don't want to talk about this later on in the next slide. And last but not least, when you come to Chester, a lot of feedback that we get is they really get the truly British experience. Okay, whether it be the culture, whether it be the town itself, in terms of architecture, in terms of the food, in terms of the local life, and whether it be in terms of the academic life as well, academic vibe in the departments, in classes. Truly British experience here at the University of Chester. Okay, all right. So moving forward, I just want to talk a bit on the subject rankings. As you can see, some of the subjects are well known for. First in quality, teaching quality is archaeology, forensic science, also for music. But we're second in the UK for computer science. It's quite huge. So anybody who's watching today, you're looking for, you're sort of looking for a computer science program. Maybe you want to put Chester in your sights because we're second for teacher quality and computer science in the UK. Okay, and apart from that, we're also fourth and fifth for sports science and also for creative writing. Okay, but overall we are 24th out of 129 universities for teaching quality, so it's quite high, very respectable. Okay, all right. So you've watched this whole presentation and you may be wondering to yourself, yeah, I mean, look, it's really good. I feel like I want to apply at the University of Chester. So let's have a look at what subjects are available For the January and February intake, we've got a couple of there. As you can see, a lot of medicine-related master's program. We also have computer science and IT and a bit of engineering, and also business as well. And also for May, it's purely postgrad business. Okay, so this is just for this January, February May intake. This is the closest because I wanted to talk about the closest intake. But fret not, in September and October next year as well, we do have undergrad intakes as well. But for postgrad, these are some of the programs you'll be looking at. Okay, and again, the price starts from £12,950 per the whole academic study year before automatic scholarship. So if you have a Vietnamese passport, if you're watching, it doesn't matter if you're watching from Vietnam or Laos or Myanmar or even Thailand. If you have one of those international passports, you can be getting automatic £2,000 off. Okay, and that brings the price down to 10,950, and then there's more, £1,000, another additional £1,000 off if you have good grades in your previous studies. Okay, so let's say we're looking at a GPA out of 4 of 3.0 and above, you're getting another £1,000 off. So £3,000 off, automatic, no questions asked. That knocks the price down to 9,950. Okay, and last but not least, we call it an early bird, or like a full fee payment award discount, another £250. So let's say you pay your full fees before the start of the program, another £250. Okay, so the minimum scholarship that you'll be getting is automatically £2,000. The maximum you can get for a postgrad student is 3,250. Okay, so it depends on that, how much you're eligible. No questions asked. We do this during the application session. Once you apply with GSP, they'll apply on behalf of you, and then from there, I'll bring the application forward, and we'll have it processed, and then all your scholarships are automatically processed by us, just looking at the transcripts that you have and the passport details, etc. And you'll be getting anywhere between £2,000 and £3,250 off this intake automatically. Okay, all right. So I hope for those of you watching, it may already pique your interest, and you'll be looking, okay, the rankings are quite good. The subjects, I do have the subjects there, and the fees are very affordable. So now let's talk about last we'll be talking about the entry requirements. Okay, so entry requirements. If you're coming for postgrad studies, of course you need a bachelor's studies, and that could be, your GPA could be anywhere from 2.0 and above out of 4. It could be, we're looking at a UK second lower class equivalent. If you're sort of confused if you're okay or not, your entry requirements, please ask GSP, or you can get in contact with me. I'm more than happy to advise. Okay. In terms of English, if you, like I said, if you have IELTS, it's no problem. Postgrad is 6.5, undergrad is 6.0, with no less than 5.5. However, if you don't want to take IELTS, it's completely fine. It's completely okay. You can take the free University of Chester English language test. Okay. And we also have plenty of other tests as well that we accept, such as Pearson's. We have TOEFL, IBT as well. What else? Unfortunately, we don't accept Duolingo. Duolingo is only available for pre-session English. But yeah, we have plenty of other Oxford AQA, if you heard of that, OET as well. Plenty of other English qualifications that we do accept. Okay, so if you want to have a look at the full list, you can always go to chester.ac.uk international/how to apply /entry-requirements. Okay, so you have the full list over there, and it's very easy to look at. Everything's in the list. Okay, so that's our entry requirements. Like I said, if you have a bachelor's degree from Vietnam, it's totally fine. You can come and do a master's with us. But if you want to come and do undergrad, maybe in September next year, you will need, at least if you complete year 12 with 8.0 and above, you will be eligible. You don't need to go foundation, straight away to year 1. Okay, so year 12, 8.0 grade and above, straight direct entry into year 1 of a bachelor's degree. Okay, and that's for September and October 2022. All right. So we're actually we're nearly at the end of the slide already, and I hope that's okay. I just wanted to show a bit of students and graduates. Unfortunately, just recently we haven't had too much of active Vietnamese students, but surrounding and neighboring countries, as I want to show, we have from Laos, we have from Malaysia, we also have from Thailand. Fantastic students. 2 of them on the left were Chevening scholarships, Chevening scholars. So if any of you heard before, Chevening scholarship is the top scholarship for UK universities. So both on the left were recipients of that. They came to our university, did their masters, very good. And on the right hand side, we've got a neighboring country, PJ from Thailand, who did his drama, data studies, actively involved in international community, in international society, as well as helping out international center. And why I wanted to highlight him is because he recently featured as a cameo in one of the UK hit TV series Hollyoaks. It's a huge drama series in the UK, and he, as a drama student, he managed to land a cameo, and I think that's fantastic. So what it shows from this is the graduates, if you are coming, don't just think about academics, also think about extracurricular, and maybe one day I'll be able to put your face and your student profile on this presentation. Okay, so hope to see Vietnamese students from GSP featured on our graduate page. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And with that is the end of the presentation. So Annie, is it okay if I just stop sharing my screen now? Okay,
Sure, definitely. Yeah, thank you so
and
much
there
for
you go.
sharing. We've got a few questions down here already. And if you guys have any questions for Zoe, please put in the comments and we go one by one. Thank you very much for all the useful information, especially the affordable tuition fees plus the early bird discount as well as the automatic scholarship. It's very helpful for students, especially now they're considering still want to study abroad, but wants a university that they can afford as well. So let's go with the first question. Do
Yeah.
you have a GPA convert table if student who study A level or IGCSE here in Vietnam and the Philippines to have a look?
Okay, so if you the usual at the top of my head for A levels, two main. Thank you for your question. Is you would need at least a BCC or a
Yeah,
BBC. Okay, so those are the three subjects that I'll be looking for. Unfortunately, there's no GPA converter, but for A levels, we're looking at BCC or at least a BBC. Okay, so you usually take three subjects. I'm correct if I'm wrong. That's usually for A level. Okay, and for IGSC, okay, if you just give me a couple of seconds, Amni, I'm just going to load up the table that I have just to have a look
sure.
at this. Okay, just give me a second. Um,
No problem.
there is so many qualifications that I don't memorize all of them, so I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the IGCSE, is it?
Yeah. Because at the
So
moment, our students study quite a lot, like the bilingual program or a mix of local curriculum and international curriculum as well. So
yeah,
that's why we get a lot of inquiries from this like Cambridge certification.
exactly, and it's really great because I know that a lot of these students now, especially, have a lot of programs now in overseas. It's really good because it gives them a really strong foundation to come and study in the UK.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the A levels, like I said, BCC or BBC, if you're looking for IB, International Baccalaureate, coming onto undergrad, we will look for a score of at least 26 to 26, 28. Okay, so anybody
Yeah.
who's watching, and in terms of the IGCSE, we only accept those onto the foundation program, but as long as you have four subjects, which are at least a minimum of C grade. Okay, so that's
Okay.
for IGCSE. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. So moving on to the next question. So students who do the local curriculum here in Vietnam, do they need the foundation year or have direct entry into Uni of Chester?
Okay, and another fantastic question there, Annie, from Tumin. I really like that question. Yes, high school students in Vietnam, you can either come and study, if you come to University of Chester, either you come to foundation or straight away into year one bachelor's degrees. However, if you want to come into year one bachelor's degrees, you need at least grades of 8.0 in your year 12. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't have those grades, maybe for example, around 6 or above year 12, then you have to take the foundation. However, if in year 11 you have at least a 7.0, you can come and do the foundation with us. Okay.
Oh,
So year 11, 7.0 minimum, you can do the foundation with us. Or if you want to wait till year 12, if you have an 8, you can do first year. Okay,
yeah.
but if you have like a 6 or a 7, then you'll have to do the foundation back as well. Okay.
Yeah. So for your foundation program is also offered by University of Chester as well, right? You do your
Yes, Annie,
own
that is
foundation.
correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. We
Perfect.
have our own foundation, and the fees is will be around £9,250 for the whole duration.
Okay. So if the student do the foundation year and once they get an offer of foundation and bachelor program, will it be a combined cast?
We have two different foundation programs actually. So we have the Seoul International Foundation Program, and then we
Yeah.
have a couple of bachelor programs which have an integrated foundation. So it's
Mm,
either a Seoul 1 year or
yeah.
a 1 plus 3. So you get 4 years, and that 4 years is a one CAS, whereas
Yeah.
the one Seoul is that's one CAS, and then you can apply for another bachelor's, that's another CAS. So the integrated would be one CAS, whereas the normal foundation would have to be two separate CAS.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thank
Okay.
you. All right. Another question from the Philippines. Is the scholarship automatically given to Filipino student as well?
Yes, yes. Thanks for that question. Fantastic. Thanks from GSP Philippines, right? Yeah, it is. It is automatically also granted for Filipinos. So as long, like I said, as long as you have international passport, it doesn't matter if your passport from Vietnam, if it's from Philippines, you'll be getting the international for postgrad £2,000 off automatically, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Undergrad £1,000 off automatically. Okay.
Perfect. Yay, great news for our Filipino student. Also, do you have practical hours for sports student who do
Sports
sport
students.
program?
Okay, all right. Thanks, Tumin, for that question. So I presume this is undergrad because the majority of our sport programs are undergrad. So if you're coming for undergrad, all I would say 99% of our programs, what they have is at the end of year two, they will have placement weeks. Okay, so this placement weeks, if I'm not mistaken, is around anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks, and you do your placement at any local firm or any local UK company that you're able to get an entry into. So that's up to you. So, but you have to do that placement. It's called placement option. So, yes, you do have. It's practical. It is practical. So you do have the practical or placement options in undergrad at the end of year two before you enter year three.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Next question, will the offshore student be required to uh, have financial documents for assessment? I think this is for the CAS process.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Huang, for the good question as well. And yes, students from Vietnam and Philippines, you will need to have financial documents. So what it is a 28 days bank statement letter. Okay, so you will need to have some required funds in that in your bank for 28 days without touching it. And then we'll need that from the university side to issue a CAS. Okay, and also you use the same 28 days bank statement letter to apply for a visa, and I think GSP will do that on behalf of you.
Yeah, perfect. So the next question is, if student currently in Vietnam University, can they apply for credit assumption or get into year one bachelor?
Okay, all right. This is a very, very interesting question. Okay. Um, so actually in the region, we're also quite known for our credits or credit transfers. So how it is that if you're studying in the university, okay, if you're looking for a similar subject at the University of Chester, okay, for example, you're studying in Vietnam, you're taking business management, for example, and then you want to come for undergrad here at University of Chester, business management as well. But you finished year one, for example, okay, you finish year one and year two, and now you want to come into year two in the UK, you want to transfer your credits, okay. How it works is that it works on a case by case basis. We will need to send your documents, your model transcriptions, your academic transcripts, all of these as well if you have English qualifications to the program leader. We'll have a look and see if the subjects match, see if your credits are enough for you to transfer onto the second year. Okay, but to be honest with you, usually for Vietnamese students, when they finish year two, they would be equivalent and they would somehow somewhere come to year two as well in the UK. Okay, if you finish, for example, let's say from, I don't know, you did a foundation in Vietnam and then you did a year one bachelor's in Vietnam, usually the case is that they will come onto year one as well of our programs. However, let's say you're doing an international program, which is very similar to UK, the credits are very similar. Like I said, a case by case basis. Okay, so don't be disheartened. Don't take this as a no. What I'm saying is that there is always leeway. There is always discussion with the program leader to have a look to see if your credits match and you can come onto the year that you want to. Okay.
All right, thank you. And last question on the comments. For direct entry programs, is this applicable for Filipino students as well?
Okay, so I presume direct entry means to any level, and yes, as a Filipino, you can also apply to the university, so there is no problem with that. Unless I've read the comment wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, direct entry, there should be no problem. I think,
I
you
think
know,
I think this question means similar to Vietnamese student who graduated high school in the local program. Do they need to do the foundation year before entering year
okay.
one? Yeah.
All right, let's just boot up again the sheets that I have. Just give me a second.
Sure.
So Filipino students are quite different in the sense that they would need to do a foundation year, okay, or at least do an IB, international baccalaureate, and then they can come onto the undergrad, okay. Um, but for masters, um, students who've done degrees in Philippines, okay, in Philippines, it really depends on university because I didn't make this rule up. It wasn't me. It's the UK. They made this rule up. UK ENIC for that. They handle all the national qualifications. If you come from a prestigious university, such as University of the Philippines, Santo Tomas, or whatever, that is equivalent to bachelor's degrees. But if you come from other lesser universities, that you may need, for example, 2 years of work experience to come and study in the UK. So it really depends. So just get in contact if you're unsure of it. If you're coming for a postgrad and you've already studied the bachelor's in the Philippines. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. A few more coming here. So the last two questions is for the admission process. So
Okay.
what's the turnover time to get the offer once we apply?
Okay, so I present that is the processing time, and this is
Yeah.
something I really want to highlight. This is something very special at University of Chester, the offer turnover time. Um, if your student's application does not need to send to the department, so for example, talking about business programs, talking about foundation, we are talking about medicine programs, postgrad, and maybe we're talking about some other programs and that don't need to send to the academic department.
Yeah.
If, for example, you apply with your SP and they let me know, send me a text or just email me. We can get the offer letter out in, I would say my record is in 1 hour. And I'm not kidding. That's how fast we can get the offer letter out for students who don't need to send to the academic department. Okay. But for students who need to send to academic department, it can be anywhere between 3 to 5 business days. Okay, so if we've already started processing for this semester, so for example, we'll be starting processing, we've already started actually January, February, but we'll be in full stretch next week, 4th October, for the next intake. Just let me know, like I said, programs that don't need to be sent to the academic department, my record is 1 hour, but usually it's around 3 to 4 hours, 6 hours or so. But under 24 hours, I can guarantee that. Okay, so very, very quick turnover time. When we send to the academic department, it's 3 to 5 business days.
I think you're the fastest university in terms of offer in the UK.
Yes, and to be honest with you, Annie, there's a funny story. Why? Because we've had, for example, the previous years we really had troubles processing. Okay, and then we streamlined our internal for the students, all the feedback that we've got from the agents, and because of that, now that's why you see the really fast turnover times, and it's really helped in the market. And students are and agents are starting to see this. So yeah, please apply as much as you want, and we'll get them sorted out. We'll get those offers out.
Yeah, that's great. Also, I have one question regards to the application for offer. So if student also apply for credit exemption at the point of application, will it take longer, right? Because you have to send to
Yes, we will
academic.
have to send. We will have to send to the academic department, and like I said, that takes anywhere between 3 to 5 business days. Okay, and just want to short one, but this is different from the CAS processing time. So a CAS letter later on, when you want to apply for visa from us, when you send in the request form to us, it'll take anywhere between 10 business days at the current moment. So that takes a bit longer.
Okay, that leads us to the last question. Could you please advise the admission process from
Admissions process.
application all the way to CAS process?
Okay, all right. So there is actually, I would break it down in 5 steps. Okay, I'm breaking it on 5 steps. Okay, so step number one is that if you're watching today, most probably you will likely apply with an agency, which is, for example, a global study partner. So if you apply from them, they will apply on behalf of you. So of course, they'll need all the relevant documents. So the most important ones that you need, especially, is academic transcripts. You need your certificates, passports, for example, and the rest, it can come at a later date. For example, like your personal statement, what else? Maybe your references, academic or work reference, that can come at a later date. Okay. So step number one is applying online. So GSP would apply on our online portal. Everything's online now, very easy. And they apply for that. Once I receive that, and then we will issue an offer letter, like I said, as quickly as possible. And that's step number two. You'll be issued an offer letter. Okay, in step number two. All right. So the offer letter will then include all conditions that you need to fulfill. And usually, the last condition is, of course, the deposit, which is flat rate of £3,000. It doesn't matter what program you are; it's always going to be £3,000. And other conditions is like, for example, please provide academic references on letterheaded paper and sign. Please provide, maybe like a personal statement, minimum 500 words, and you need to fulfill all those conditions as a student. Okay, send all those documents back to GSP, and they will upload it in the online portal. We will have a look at it, and once all those conditions are fulfilled, especially once your deposit is paid, okay, that is step number three. So to pay the deposit as a last condition. Okay, so offer letter, fulfill all conditions, and then you will need to pay lastly the deposit. So the deposit is usually, it's paid foreign TT, or it doesn't matter if you want to pay credit card or whatnot. And usually it takes anywhere between 3 to 10 business days. That's up to the banks. And then once we have received the deposit on our side, okay, it's usually step number four. Okay, so step number four is you'll be sent from students from Vietnam and Philippines. You'll be sent. It's called a GI, genuine intention form, and also a CAS request form. Okay, so both of these need to be filled out. So a CAS request form is, of course, the details to issue a CAS. The GI form is basically just questions about see if you are a genuine intention student. So there are certain countries which we don't set. It's the UK, UKVI that sets. So for example, Vietnam and Philippines, you need to do it. Countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, we don't need. But for Vietnam, Philippines, you just fill that in. Okay, and I would really advise for you as a student, reach out to me or GSP can on your behalf to get feedback. So you send the draft to me, I will have a look, I will comment, and usually if it's sent in business hours, I'll try my best to reply as fast as possible, 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, but if you send it at 12 a.m., I'll have a look at the next morning. Unfortunately, I can't wake up and have a look at it, but I'll try to get it as out as possible. Send a draft, and this is really good because you want your GI form to be 100% perfect, okay? Because if it's not perfect, once it gets the admissions, it takes 10 business days to have a look at it. And then if they revert back to you, you have to change again, another 10 business days, it just takes a lot of time. So make it perfect from my end, from our end. And that's step number four. Send both of those forms back. And that's step number five, is you get your CAS letter. And from the CAS letter, GSP will help you do your visas and so forth. Okay, so it takes 10 business days to do a CAS. So 5 very, very easy steps. Everything is online and via email. So there's no need for mail. There's no need to send a pigeon out. Everything's online. Okay, very easy 5 steps.
Yeah. Wow, that's perfect. Thank you so much for explaining the steps. I think our partner is very confident now on, apply to University of Chester, and rest assured what the steps are. And we have you here to support us with the GI and the CAS form. So yeah, thank you so much for a great session. So
thank you. And I see Tumin just said thank you. So thank you very much to the audience watching. So even to everybody who's watching this rerun, I think you get in touch with GSP. If you want to get in touch with me, it's also, I had my contact details earlier in the slides. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, Annie, for hosting today's session. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching from Vietnam, from the Philippines. And we will see you again in our next live session. And thank you, Zoe, and goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.